Hey YouTube. So I'm out in my shop, kind of got curious why the XCR was so much more comfortable than my other sleds. So this is a 14 Indy 600, and the level set midway in the seat, we're at 19, approximately 1/4 inches from the running board to the top of the seat. And then in my 2012 IQR, I do the same thing. I'll put the tape measure in the middle of the seat, and so approximately 19.5. And the IQR has way better ergonomics than my Indy does. It's for racing. And then the IQR, same thing. I'll do it in the middle of the, XCR, I'm sorry, middle of the seat. Get that. A little bit tougher here because of the way the running boards are made. And we're at 21.5. So something that I noticed when I was measuring running boards in the seat, it's not just the height of the seat that makes the machine more comfortable on this XCR as opposed to the other ones. It has to do with the shape of the running boards. Notice how the running board, it's a more gentle angle coming off the footrest. It's more flat. And then it kicks up towards the back and the end of the tunnel, so you get your deep snow clearance. So it's a really nice compromise for riding bumps, comfort standing up, and the practicality of having the ability to run through deep snow. What's kind of neat, they've back in the 70s, when the TXs, TXLs, TXCs, they had a deep tunnel. They're actually comfortable to stand up on when you're riding those springers. The 80s, when it came out, or not the 80s, when the Indies came out in the 80s, they used the same tunnel. It was that deep tunnel. They ran that till 85. When the 86s came out, they went with the taper tunnel. Well, the taper was a constant slope, and they were great for running through deeper snow, but they weren't quite as comfortable to stand up on. They had really short seats back then, so I like this. I like this compromise that they did here, and it works. It's really nice. So what I was saying earlier is the steering post, the Ski-Doos. I can't speak about the Gen 4s, but the I believe it was the XPs. They had a straight post that connected directly to kind of like the steering frog. It's like an ATV, and then that I don't know what it's called, steering frog, and then that went to both the tie rods. This is a direct connection. And from talking to one of my buddies at the Iron Dog, he's sponsored by Ski-Doo. That's actually a patent that they have. So it's probably why Polaris has to go to this two-piece, had the two-piece steering post on the Pro-Ride chassis. And now on, I thought this was pretty neat to see. Remember earlier I said how easy it was to strip the sled down? That took me, it probably took me a minute. Pick both side panels off, and then the hood. And a little trick, if you go to do this, for this guy, where that clip is, let's get my light. See that clip? You actually press it with your thumb, and then the whole thing releases and pops out. It's really simple. So as far as the steering post goes, again, steering post going over the motor. And then if you look down inside there, steering post then mounts to the bulkhead. Well, this is hard with my phone. There we go. I think the guy can see. There you go. So there's our steering post bolts into the bottom. And then it's got a drag link. It's underneath the exhaust header. You can just barely see it there. I think the other angle is better. So underneath the Y-pipe, and then there's like the steering frog over there. I'll move it so you can kind of get an idea. Come on, focus. And there's that drag link. So what they did is they got the drag link down low, and so they kind of put the weight down low. I like this setup better than the Pro-Ride. I think it's cleaner. It's kind of a more traditional setup for what they've been doing. If you remember the old Indies, they also had a drag link that connected the steering post to the steering frog. Anyway, I just think it's a cleaner design. So there's the pipe, stock pipe. And I thought this was pretty interesting. I keep tripping over those other things. Oh, and I just hit my hood. Kind of got a lot of stuff in my shop. So look at the focus there. Look at the size of that exhaust can. That's huge. I don't know why it's so big. That's the one off the 14 Indy. It's a lot smaller. Maybe that thing's just really spacious and it's light. I don't know. I haven't taken it off, but that guy's a lot smaller. I mean, that thing, look at how big it is. It's ridiculous. And I still wear earplugs riding the machine. But I will say on the first ride when I took it up on Monday, I forgot my earplugs. And the machine wasn't terribly loud. Didn't bother me. It's actually the wind coming back was a lot worse on my ears and at speed than the engine noise. So that thing must be pretty quiet. Trying to think anything else. Oh, something I thought was weird is this, whatever this material is here. It's like a fiber. It's like that the airbox is made out of. I hope that stuff holds up over time. I don't know. I assume it will. I mean, I'm sure this is probably the same style that they've had since 15 with the Axis, whatever those things are called now, Pro XC chassis, Rush, whatever I don't know. They keep changing the name of them. Anyway, just some random things I was noticing. Thought you might be interested. Oh, and one last thing. I want to see the difference. I mentioned in the earlier video, the aluminum throttle. You can see right there, that's what the IQR comes with. I assume the new ones come with the same setup as this one. And then they have a different kill switch on them too. And that's something I'm probably going to switch out on my XCR. Came with the tether. I had to put the tether. I got the tether kit for my XCR. And then see, this one's foam, and I like that better than this setup over here. We have like I was talking about, the hard plastic, and then the kill switch is your traditional Polaris kill switch. They've been making this style kill switch since the 80s. And bad thing is your chest can hit it and kill your machine. One trick that I always do usually is I just flip this thing around and put it on the front of the bars, which was what I was going to do on this one, except with all the cabling and stuff here. Focus, come on, focus, there we go. It wasn't gonna work very well. And I saw for the race on the racing website, they sell a different kill switch. I may just buy one of those. Oh, and then what I was gonna say, the other little trick you can do is you can just get an O-ring and put an O-ring underneath here. But it's kind of a pain, so it's good, you hold it down like a dirt bike and then you kill it. But it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of it's a little bit of a hassle finding the right thickness of O-ring, but that will prevent you from hitting your chest on it and killing the machine. All right, well, if I come up with any other random things that I notice while I'm looking at the machines in the shop, I'll, oh, the coupling block. Okay, let me see if the snow's melted out and I'll post about that. Okay, so let's take a look at the coupler blocks on here. You can see it's a nice aluminum piece, and they look like they're already in a lower position. It's really tight in there. It's really hard for me to see. I'm assuming I can rotate them. I'll show you in the book that it says you can, but they already look like they're in a lower position, which would mean, from what it looks to me, like they're already set up for more coupling than if they were raised up. While I'm down here, I'm looking at stuff, there's the aluminum shaft in front, which is different. Usually, you remember before they had those blocks. And then I noticed you got this reinforcement here. I noticed on some of the USXC sleds I was looking at on YouTube, some of the guys had a plate that was on the outside of the tunnel. It looks like the factory put that in on the inside for this year for the XCR, so that's really nice. And then I noticed the chain adjuster, or not the chain adjuster, the track adjustment's that nice aluminum piece rather than like a sheet metal. And you've got your reinforced rails, bump stops. I thought this was nice. It's like my IQR. It's got the little keeper in there so your spring doesn't pop out. I thought that was a nice feature. This is the rear dropout. This is what the owner's manual is talking about with those blocks. And I don't see a dot, and they look like they're already in a low position to me. So I'll have to mess around with that some more tomorrow and see what I can figure out. So earlier I was wondering about the chain case, if it had a dipstick. There's no dipstick, and I can see why. The way the case is actually cast into that structural piece there, there's nowhere for the dipstick. So even if you did put a dipstick, if they did do that, you can't reach it, because you've got the giant muffler in the way, and then the disc is there. There's nowhere for you to get at it. So that's why they didn't do it. So this is to make it lighter, which is awesome. I think that was more of an RMK thing though, because the RMKs are super light. From what I've been seeing on the XCR, I don't think it's particularly light. But I'll need to look at the specs. I just don't remember it really standing out to me. But oh, here's the other. This is pretty nice. And last year, the guys that were racing the Indy XCs, they had to. These are carbon fiber, and they had to go and reinforce those through the race department. There's a kit you could buy. The XCR came with that. These were aluminum, so that was nice. I didn't have to do that. All right. I think that's all I'll post for tonight. Thanks a lot for watching.